What's up everybody, Smyers here. Today I want to give you 5 tips on how to create chord progressions for deep house. This is going to be a quick video and it's going to be good for you if you have been struggling with creating chord progressions for deep house, or are just getting started in the deep house style, or just want some tips on how to get better and faster at creating chord progressions in deep house. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Tip number 1, I call 4x4. That means to use 4 chords over 4 bars. So in deep house, you're going to have a BPM around 124. So I can go ahead and mark out 1, 2, 3, 4 bars here, and I'm going to insert a MIDI clip. And I know within these 4 bars, I'm going to try to use 4 chords and create a chord progression in this MIDI clip. Tip number 2 is to write your chord progressions in A minor and then transpose from there. If you're not good with music theory, then writing in A minor is really easy because you know on a keyboard, it's just going to be all of the white keys. And I'm saying A minor and not C major because a lot of deep house is going to be minor. And I think a lot of EDM in general is minor. So we can just assume that we're going to write our chord progression in a minor key. Another thing that you can do in Ableton is there is this MIDI effects device called Scale. And I can go down here to C minor and I can put it on my MIDI track and I can change the bass here. And now any time I play a key on my keyboard, it's going to be in that minor key. So I could do C minor, I could drag it all the way up to here to A minor. And basically anytime I hit any kind of key on my keyboard, it's going to put it in that key. So you could also use this if you're not really great at figuring out the different types of notes in a key. If you just want to set your key here and then just play whatever notes on the keyboard that you want, they're always going to be in the key. Tip number 3 is to use HookTheory.com. This is going to be a great resource if you want to figure out which chord progressions are popular and widely used among really popular commercial songs. So here I'm at HookTheory.com. I go to resources and then popular chord progressions, and that's going to take me to this web page here. So we have this first one that pops up. It says the most popular progression, and I can play it. I can change the key. And I can go down here and it has a bunch of other songs that use this chord progression, which is really cool. We have Paco Bell's progression. I think that's how you say his name. We have one that says effective in all genres. And we have one that says those magic changes. And I think this chord progression I want to use. So I'm going to go to here and change the key. So let's do A minor and let's just go ahead and play it. So it shows you the notes here and I can click on the chords like that. And it shows me all the notes. So now that I know I want to use this chord progression, I'm going to go back to my session. So tip number 4 is actually going to be to start with the bass. So you saw my chord progression there and I'm actually going to use the root notes of each of those chords. So let's go back. We have A minor, F, D minor, and E minor. So that means A is going to be my first note. So let's go ahead and put in an A. And let's do E minor, so that's going to be that. So now that I have that bass, I could drag the MIDI down to a chord MIDI. And that's just going to be this synth that I have pulled up in Serum from my Serum preset pack, actually, if you want to check that out. So I'm going to select all these notes, drag them up an octave to make them a bit higher. In deep house, when you are creating chords, you don't have to use the 1, 3, and the 5 for your chords. You could use the 1 and the 5, the 1 and the 7, or maybe just the 1. So I'm going to try to do the 1 and the 5. So let's go ahead and do this. A, it's going to be E, ACE, FAC, DFA, and E, G, B. So those are going to be the fifths. And let's check that out. And let's play that with the bass. So that sounds great for the break of a deep house track or possibly the verse. But what about the drop? So the drop, we're probably going to use maybe like an FM bass style of pluck for the drop. And so tip number 5 for creating those deep house bass plucks, that progression for the drop, is to place those bass plucks on the offbeat and try not to place them directly on the kick, because when you are mixing your track, you're probably going to be sidechaining that bass with the kick anyway. So it's going to be ducking out of the way of the kick. And you want to create your groove with placing those bass plucks on the offbeats and not on top of the kick. You can place some plucks on top of the kick, but try to utilize the offbeats. So I'm going to take this MIDI here and I'm going to actually drag it onto a bass pluck sound, and I'm going to start adjusting this MIDI here to create a bass pluck pattern. And let's just copy this down to D. Shorten that. I believe that's on all the offbeats. Let me just check. I don't think I have any bass note on any of the kicks. And what I could do is I could copy this MIDI here. I could put in a growl bass, which is really popular in deep house. Like that. And I can layer that underneath the pluck. And I can take these chords that I just created and layer these on top of the, or in the middle. So now that's the foundation of a deep house song. And hopefully utilizing those 5 tips I gave you, so using 4 chords over 4 bars, writing an A minor, and then going to hook theory to figure out the chord progression you want to use, starting with the bass, and then when you're putting in those bass plucks to utilize the offbeats, hopefully those 5 tips will help you get faster and better at creating chord progressions for your deep house tracks. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give a like. And also, if you are not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing to my channel. And finally, if you are truly looking to improve your mixing skills, then check out my Modern Mix Academy. This is going to be a full all-in mixing course that I created that will help you make some of the best records of your life from the comfort of your own home. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.